Well, hello and welcome to today's edition of the Pastor's Study. We're taking a look at James chapter 3, verses 3 through 5, and we're looking at the power of a tiny little object to control something very, very large. James talks about the bit that goes in a horse's mouth and how that tiny little piece of metal can control a very large, very powerful horse. He also talks about a rudder, which is on the back end of a very large ship, and yet it controls the steering of this entire great vessel. I remember one time while we were staying on Guam, serving there, we happened to see the USS Enterprise, a aircraft carrier, come into harbor, and when they took that ship back out, that giant ship, to realize that giant ship was controlled and steered by a tiny piece, relatively tiny piece of metal at the back end of that ship, and it directed the ship as it left the harbor. You could see the steering take place. And James says, your tongue is similar. That tiny little part of your body, and yet that tiny little piece does so much. It boasts, he says, great things. And we need to be careful on how we use that tiny little piece of flesh stuck between our jaws. That tiny instrument. We can sing songs of praise, or we can utter horrible curses. We can use it to encourage and lift people up, or we can use to destroy other individuals. James is telling us that tiny little piece can be a force that controls who and what you are, what people think about you, how you present yourself with those around you and those you meet even on a regular basis. So let me caution us today, as myself as well. Watch how I use my tongue. Till next time in the Pastor's Study, I'm Ray Bertolet saying goodbye, and may God richly bless.